All right, folks, how you doing? Ordinary Income back today. So far, the rain has gone away here in the Midwest, which is great. A sunny day, and I think just like the weather, there might be something else that might be going away as well, and that would be the amount of job openings that you're probably going to be finding. Hope you all enjoyed that transition. But a couple days ago, I think on Thursday, May 4th, we had the job numbers come out, and we had plus 428,000 jobs were added here by Ms. Heather Long. She added that. Wage growth, though, wasn't keeping up with inflation. Labor force participation fell by 336,000 people. What this means is you might be able to conclude that while jobs were added, people were also saying we're not going to go back to work. And that's going to be something I want you to keep in mind for later. But more specific, when we take a look at it, the ADP change, which is I think ADP is like a company we use to measure the job numbers, but they're one of the ones that are more popular that you'll see job numbers reported by. They mention that this is the weakest changed month to month over the past year, that you had the slowest growth, so to say. And then we get into some real more interesting things. So what did I just mention to summarize? We had jobs added, but the jobs added were not at a high rate. They were actually at a slower rate than usual. And when we take a look closer, we could see that using ADP numbers as well, small business employment actually declined by 105,000 people in the 3 months up to April, which usually by Mr. Rosenberg here is a good indicator that a recession is coming, because we saw the same thing in October, December of 19 before COVID crash, and between September, November of 07 before the great financial crisis. The small business employment. If we take a look again by Mr. Zaccardi here, small ADP small business, negative 120,000, I think, for April 2022. Overall employment went up, but small business employment went down. Why do we even care about small business employment? Why am I telling you all this in the first place? It has been reported, as I have geese quacking behind me, theoretically, small business has a much stronger pulse on the overall economy. Because when you have a small business, you don't have access to the same thing large corporations have. If you're a large corporation who is not seeing the same impact, by the way, ADP numbers are still increasing, small numbers are decreasing, meaning most likely corporate jobs are still increasing. They're still hiring, and that is partially true. Again, I can only speak on the tech side, but tech companies are still hiring. Those companies, huge corporations, the difference is they have access to capital markets, to bond markets. They have many ways to issue debt, to obtain financing, to obtain capital so they can keep the train going. Small businesses do not. They don't have an ability to really issue out bonds at all. If they're looking to get a loan, it's going to be a higher rate than what a corporation can get from the bond market or from the Federal Reserve or whoever. So, because of that, they are more in tune with the overall economy, with the common person. And when you're seeing that overall small businesses are having a decrease, it's a warning sign that the businesses around you and me that you see every day are going to have a struggling time to figure out what's going on, that either their margins are decreasing and they're not able to afford keeping people employed, meaning that you're going to have more people entering the job market, raising the unemployment rate. And when you have a rate of change in unemployment that starts to go higher and higher, it signals troubling times for the overall economy. What else would also contribute to that, though? Not only do you have small businesses kind of showing that we're not hiring, we're actually laying off people, thus increasing the amount of people that are going to be unemployed, or at least the hiring pool. You also have articles like this coming out that a lot of people who retired during the pandemic are returning to work, and you're wondering why that is. Most likely it's because a lot of people retired during COVID, looking at their financial portfolios, saying, I can live off these dividends, I can live off these gains that are coming in, these net returns. And what happened was one of two things, I'm guessing, is that people didn't cash out on their portfolios. So if you are a crypto investor, you were looking at your investments at when crypto was at 68,000, Bitcoin in particular was $68,000, saying this is great, I can live off, leveraging this or some sort. And now that it's dropped to 35,000, you have to ask yourself different questions, many of which revolve around how do I get the money I need to sustain my lifestyle? What if you're a retiree living off your 401k? Well, you don't really worry too much about the value of the 401k because you're hoping on dividends. And the problem is you have fixed income. Companies you're getting a certain amount of money coming to you every quarter or every month, whatever the dividend structure is. The problem is companies don't raise dividends like they raise wages or they raise prices in the first place. Dividends are paid like very last. When they have money left over, they'll return money to the investors. So they're paying usually the same dividend. So you're getting the same money every quarter, so to say, but your expenses are increasing. And now people are saying our retirement, our fixed income from our retirement isn't enough to sustain higher prices. So we need to go back to work, which is happening. So on top of small businesses now laying off people, which is going to be an issue in and of itself of what it could tell us, you also have people coming back. And now you might be starting to see this in the job numbers in coming months. If you're not going to be seeing this in job numbers, don't even worry, because there's a strong chance you might be seeing this in the overall employment market. Because as I've shown you before, we already have companies saying that we're going on hiring freezes, we're laying off, we're chilling out on that. Because a lot of the economic policy has shifted from economic growth to economic contraction. And companies are following suit. They're saying we're not going to be investing in growth because it's not the environment to do so. Instead, we're going to be worrying about keeping our profits, keeping our margins, sustaining the high level that we're at. With sustainment comes the fact that we're not interested in hiring people to do expansionary ideas, R&D and all that. We want to really solidify the product. Amazon said this. They said, we're not interested in growing. We're interested in just making our stuff better right now, and focusing on what we do have and just bringing the quality up. And now we're at the third, I guess, dagger, you could say, that layoffs in small business, people coming back to work because their portfolios aren't keeping up with inflation, and hiring not becoming as easy or as attractive in the larger corporations. So it's going to be an interesting time with the economy. It's going to be something interesting with the job market. I don't know if the job numbers are going to be able to show it, because they do a good job of making the job numbers paint whatever story they'd like. But keep an eye on this, that you're starting to see a couple cracks and a couple troubling signs in the overall economy when it comes to work. And work is the biggest thing, because if you're not working, you're not making money. If you're not making money, how are you going to afford anything? So keep that in mind. If you're wondering, what do I do? How as an individual can I help, avoid layoffs or look into this? As I've always said, bringing value to your employer is the biggest thing. Gaining more skills, learning all these things. I've mentioned it all the time, so I'll show you what I use. You can go to udemy.com, and specifically for tech, this is what I use. So if you want to learn programming, let's say, and as you see here, you can get courses for certain amounts. So you say, I want to learn programming. So maybe you're looking to do beginning programming, C++, which is pretty hard. Learn Python, $25, you'll get 70.5 hours. 70.5 lecture hours spread over 520 lectures for $25, pretty good. Java programming for beginners. If you want to get certified in anything, so let's say you're looking to get a Google certification, because I know all these cloud certifiers, all these cloud platforms, AWS, Google, Microsoft Azure, you're always going to be able to get hired for that. You could see GCP, Cloud Engineer, probably go with something a little bit easier. So GCP for beginners, Cloud Digital Leader, $15. There's other costs involved with Google, but you can always look and figure out ways to get free access to the platform, ways to get your testing costs reduced as well. It's definitely available, but you can see $15, about 10 hours, 156 lectures. It goes over everything you need to learn. This is just examples. The idea is, okay, if the hiring market is chilling out, if it's going to be tougher to hire, if it's going to be tougher to find a job, how do I make sure I can get one? Udemy is one site I use. You got to be careful. You got to do some research into the lecture, see if the lecture is any good or not, and all that. But you can see Microsoft certification, AWS, Oracle, all these. And doing anything, this is what I use. This is what I'm trying to say, is that if you're asking yourself, like, how the hell do I brace for this so that I can be someone who's not laid off, or if I am someone who's laid off, I can find a job easier. In the tech space alone, cloud certification is a good way to hedge your bets. Good way to make a career transition, good way to add value for yourself. Udemy does a lot of these sales. As I got a fire truck coming now. It says it's going to end in 5 hours. They do these sales like once or twice a week. So if you see a class and it's listed for the whole price, wait like a day or two, come back, and you'll most likely be able to get it for like $15. So that's my idea. That's all I want to say about the hiring. Hopefully the ideas made sense. If you have any questions about anything, if I said something wrong, feel free to correct me. I'm not an expert by any means, but I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all got something out of this. I hope you all enjoyed the rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you back during the week to talk about some things I see that's going on. Have fun, folks.